Oh, this is a crisp dosa. Oh. The aroma is quite interesting. This is so good. One would never imagine that you would find an exceptional dosa like this in the tiny bylanes of Bengaluru. So these are definitely not the dosas that your dad and mom grew up eating. These are dosas that people are eating now.
Welcome back to part 2 of our epic dosa trail featuring Namma Bengaluru's most popular dosa destinations. In episode 1, I tasted dosas from a range of establishments. Legendary institutions like MTR, Vidyarthi Bhavan to eateries like New Model and Janata Hotel that offer a glimpse into the past. Alongside other favorite dosa spots like Taza Tindi and Davanagere Benne Dosa. If you haven't got the episode yet, you will find a link to it right here and in the description below. Watch this video till the very end to catch the rest of my dosa trail. Dosa aficionados in Bengaluru are vociferous when it comes to asserting their favorite dosa spot. And one such establishment with legions of loyal fans is CTR in Malleshwaram. I was here for the Benne Masala Dose and the Set Dosa. You know, this is what I appreciate about establishments like this. You have a short, focused menu. They only do those many things and they do it well. And that's enough to bring in people. 15 minutes into the restaurant opening and it's already packed. Benne Masala, Benne Plain. Benne Masala, Benne Plain.
Set Dosa, Plain Dosa.
Plain Dosa.
Goli Bhaji.
So we're just going to be waiting for a table. Hopefully it'll take a few minutes and we'll get a table. You know, whilst we were waiting, I was taking a look around at the table. Almost every table has a masala dosa, and there are also some Goli Bhaji that I see. And of course, now that people are beginning to finish their dosas, you also have some coffees coming out. So I already know what I'm going to order here. It's going to be the masala dosa and the coffee. The Goli Bhaji, perhaps the next time, since we're doing a dosa special this time around. So we finally got a table. I'm going to go there before somebody else makes it to our table. You got to come here early, and there's usually a wait involved for a table. And even when you come here, you got to watch the table. You got to watch which table is getting empty, and then lurk in the vicinity of the table so that you're the first one seated at the table. That's something new that we've learned here today. Dosa lene de.
Benne masala, normal masala, set dosa. Benne plain, watery plain.
One benne masala kodi. Amele one set dosa. Thank you. So I have both my dosas here, the Benne Masala Dosa and the Set Dosa. So Benne Masala Dosa is served with a gatti chutney and also a regular thing, a coriander mint chutney. And then you have the Set Dosa, which is served with a sagu, a vegetable preparation, and the gatti chutney. You know what I like is the size of this dosa. It doesn't look huge, doesn't look humongous. It looks very manageable. Oh, this is a crisp dosa. Oh, I love this. I love the texture of the dosa. It's crisp on the outside and you can see it's fluffy within. You know, I love the way the dosa has been roasted. It takes skill to roast a dosa like this. So when you bite into it, you have that crunch, but then you have the fluffiness of the dosa that takes over and cradles the masala so beautifully well. Let's taste the dosa now with some chutney. The coconut mint chutney. You got that minty freshness. The chutney is not spicy at all. In fact, it complements the dosa quite well. And of course, like a lot of traditional dosa establishments in Bengaluru, there's no sambar served here. You have your dosa with the chutney. Love this. Tasted with the gatti chutney. The gatti basically means hard. It's not a watery chutney, it's a hard chutney. It's a firm, thick chutney. In this one you can taste the spice. You have the coconut, you have the gram flour, and then you have that spice of the chili.
that takes over the chutney. Oh, I love this. I love this crunchy outside and fluffy inside. This is going to be a tasty bite. You know, the palya is seasoned just right. Not at all spicy, very flavorful. This is the right amount of turmeric, some mild seasoning. You've got some curry leaves, onions. Very tasty. Let's taste the set dosa now. So you've got 3 of these dosas in a plate, served with a vegetable sagu. So I can see some cucumber here, some dried peas. I'm going to dunk the set dosa into the sagu. Oh, this is a tasty sagu. It's a perfect complement to the spongy texture of the set dosa. A bit messy, but then when you got food like this, you don't really care. This is so good. I came in here to taste the Benne Masala Dose, but this one is a big surprise. With some of the gatti chutney now. You know, the gatti chutney provides that slightly spicy break in between tasting mouthfuls of the dosa and the sagu. I think that's what this gatti chutney does. It's a tasty chutney. I'm going to just let my set dosa soak up all that gravy and then carry some of the vegetables. So you've got the onions, you've got dried peas. I think you have saute kai or the Mangalore cucumber, I think. And of course you've got the curry leaves and all of that. That's a tasty mouthful.
Nice filter coffee.
Thank you.
Very hot.
Lovely. I know this was supposed to be an only dosa day out, but I couldn't resist. I saw all these goli bhajis being ordered left, right and center on every table around me. And the Mangalorean in me had to order this. Before the coffee, this is hot. Bisi goli bhaji. Oh my god, this is hot. I'm burning my fingers trying to break into this. First, I have to taste it just by itself. I love the almost sticky texture of the outer layer of the goli bhaji and the soft, porous insides. And it's got that tinge of sweetness. And of course, you have some bits, some flecks of curry leaf that the goli bhaji is studded with. This is the ultimate coffee time snack. Taste it with some of that chutney. Got a nice thick coconut chutney. This is delicious. When you're here at CTR, definitely order one of these along with your dosa. A small tumbler of coffee, the perfect end to your meal here at CTR. It's hot. We're going to attempt to cool it down a little bit. Great coffee. The coffee is thick, it's flavorful, the fitting end to a dosa experience here at CTR.
My next dosa stop was at a street side dosa haunt in the bylanes of Basavanagudi. Hanchina, an easily spottable orange tempo converted into an eatery on wheels, cooks up Bengaluru's favorite tiffin in flavors of dill, pineapple and more.
ಏನು ದೋಸೆ ಇದೆ?
ಮೆಂತ್ಯ ದೋಸೆ ಇದೆ, ಸಬ್ಬಕ್ಕಿ ದೋಸೆ ಇದೆ, ಪೈನಾಪಲ್ ದೋಸೆ ಇದೆ, ರಾಗಿ ದೋಸೆ ಇದೆ, ಟೊಮೆಟೊ
ಮೆಂತೆ ಸಬ್ಬಕ್ಕಿ and ಸಬ್ಬಕ್ಕಿ ದೋಸೆ ಕೊಡಿ. So this is another aspect of dosas in Namma Bengaluru. Dosas served street side. And we are at this eatery called Hanchina, an eatery, a food truck, a food tempo, whatever you may call it. But I'm told this is hugely popular. They've got a bunch of dosas.
So there is a batter for the pineapple dosa. Ide, no? That is a sabaki dosa, mente dosa. There is a mente dosa here. This is a tomato dosa.
Tomato dosa.
Ah, so there's some ragi dosa. A very interesting dosa spot. So this is the sabaki dosa or the sabaki dose, and this is made of dill or sabaki, as dill is known in Kannada. It's quite aromatic. You get the aromas of the dill even before you taste the dosa. Very different in its flavor. As soon as you bite into the dosa, you taste all that dill. You taste the aromas of the dill inside your mouth. It's got this freshness to it. And they serve the dosa here with two chutneys. So this is a tomato chutney and the coconut chutney. I'm going to taste it with the tomato chutney first. It's like a nice and runny sort of a chutney. So you have the tomato, you have that chili heat. I think there's some red chili powder in this. It's called a tomato chutney, but it's spicy. I think it's also thickened with some roasted chana dal. That's probably gone into the chutney. You can see flecks of dill that is there in the dosa. You also have some onions. The aroma that you taste inside your mouth is quite interesting. And then you have the crunch of the onions too as you bite into the dosa. Let's taste this with the chutney too. The coconut, but you taste a lot of the roasted gram flour. It's not as spicy as a tomato chutney. I would have expected the tomato chutney to be tangy, but this one is a spice bomb. An interesting and tasty dosa experience right here on the streets of Namma Bengaluru. Set in the heart of the central business district, some would argue that Airlines Hotel serves more than just a dosa in its garden restaurant that is reminiscent of the old Bengaluru charm.
Butter masala, butter plain, paper butter masala, akki roti, onion dosa.
Butter masala dosa.
Butter masala.
So dosa at Airlines Hotel is much more than the dosa. It's about sitting in this wonderful alfresco setting. You're sitting under the canopy of this glorious old banyan tree. You're sitting in its shade, and it basically gives you a glimpse of what Bengaluru was like in the good old days, and I think that's what draws people here. At Airlines Hotel, you can either order your meal in the car, which is hugely popular, and that's why there's always a bit of a jam with all the vehicles trying to get in and out of this small tiny parking space that they have. But otherwise on a weekend, this is where people are at. Today is a working day, it's a weekday, and we're in the middle of the day. It's about 4 o'clock, it's about 3 o'clock now actually, and that's why there's not too many people here. But come here on a weekend and you'll see that it's completely packed with customers. So here we are, the butter masala dosa at Airline Hotel. They don't call it Benne Masala Dosa, they call it butter masala dosa. We're in the heart of town, in the heart of Bengaluru CBD, so it has to be the butter masala dosa. I can see a copious amount of the palya in there, and there is some red chutney that the dosa is smeared with. It's been a while since I've tasted an Airline masala dosa, and usually when I come here early in the morning after a walk at Cubbonpet. But it's been a while since I've done that. Let's go for a generous bite of the dosa. So I've got the dosa, I've got the palya. You know, when it comes to dosa in Bengaluru, people have their own choices. There are some who swear by the Airlines Hotel dosa, and there are some who say it is not as traditional a dosa as they would expect. But then it all boils down to one's choice. Well, as for me, I find this dosa great by itself, but I think a dosa experience at Airline Hotel is much more than the dosa. It's about coming here in the heart of Bengaluru, sitting in an environment like this, and I think that's what makes the dosa experience here really special. Having said that, this is a tasty dosa. Let's taste it with the chutney now. The dosa has a lovely crunch. The sambar, you can see the vegetables in the sambar. It's quite a wholesome sambar, and it has that sweetish jaggery touch to it. Go for more of the dosa.
It's got a bit of chili in this bite. This will be a spicy bite perhaps. Have some chutney to chase that dosa. You know, the chutney is nice and thick. It's got all that coconut and it's not too spicy actually. It's quite a mellow tasting chutney. It has a heat, but just that gentle sort of a heat. Actually, as you eat a few bites of the butter masala dosa here with the chutney, you begin to enjoy it. A very different dosa from traditional establishments in South Bangalore, but a tasty dosa in its own right. Coffee after masala dosa at Airlines is a ritual. It's not a coffee that will blow your mind, but it's a satisfying coffee nonetheless.
A tiny hole-in-the-wall eatery in Seshadripuram that opens only in the evenings to cater to locals, Umesh Dosa Point has amassed patrons across the city thanks to the scrumptious Podi Dosa that they serve.
ಏನಿದೆ ದೋಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ?
ದೋಸೆ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಇದೆ, ಪುಡಿ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಇದೆ, ಬಾತ್ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಇದೆ, ಆನಿಯನ್ ಇದೆ.
ಪುಡಿ ದೋಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ?
ಇಡ್ಲಿ ಪುಡಿ ದೋಸೆ. ಪುಡಿ ದೋಸೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಥರ ಪುಡಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಹಾಂ,
ಪುಡಿ ದೋಸೆ, ಪುಡಿ ಇಡ್ಲಿ.
ಪುಡಿ ಅದರ ಒಳಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ?
ದೋಸೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಿ ತುಪ್ಪ ಹಾಕಿ.
ಹಾಂ,
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪುಡಿ ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ರೈಸ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಈರುಳ್ಳಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಪುಡಿ ಹಾಕಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರಿ, ಒಂದು ಪುಡಿ ದೋಸೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ.
ಪುಡಿ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಕೊಡಲಾ?
ಪುಡಿ ಮಸಾಲೆ ಬೇಡ, ಪುಡಿ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಕೊಡಿ.
ಹಾಂ.
So there you have it, my podi plain dosa here. As you can see, it's been smeared with a podi, and this is a homemade podi. It's got gram flour, it's got spices, it's got chili, it's got all sorts of spicy things in that fiery red podi. And I'm told the dosa here is made in ghee. I was expecting something spicy, but it has a sweet tinge to it. There's sakre ide adaralli.
ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಲೈಟಾಗಿ ಬೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿ.
So I tasted this and I got this hint of sweetness. So the gentleman here tells me that this is a podi that they've prepared keeping the clientele in mind, who are mostly Jains and Marwadis in the area, so there is no onion in it. And there's a bit of jaggery which gives it that sweetness. It's quite a contrast to what you expect to be tasting when you have this podi dosa. I love this. So it's got that sweet and it's got that spice and it's got that crunch that comes from the podi. Let's taste it with the chutney. There are two chutneys here. There is a tomato chutney and of course a coconut chutney. Let's taste the tomato chutney first. This tomato chutney is gentle in its flavors. You have that tartness that comes from the tomato and it's gentle in its flavor. You got a bit of the red chili that's probably there in this tomato chutney, but it's not overwhelmingly spicy. It's a small little store that dishes out this dosa. The dosa is incredibly tasty. Oh, I love the sweetness. I love the sweetness that's coming from the jaggery in the podi. Quite the opposite of what I expected this podi dosa to be. Taste it with some chutney now. You got that nice fresh coconut chutney. You got a bit of the chili heat that comes in the chutney. You know, typically when you're eating dosas in a street side establishment like this, you're expecting it to be fiery, you're expecting it to be spicy, chili hot. But this one is none of that. It's flavorful, it's got that perfect balance of sweet, spice. You've got that fresh hit of the coconut, you've got the tang of the tomato in the tomato chutney. It's a great dosa overall. Bhai chanagide. Super. Very good. No wonder Umesh Dosa Point made it to Bengaluru's most popular dosa spots. This is so good.
My next dosa destination took me to the narrow bylanes of Cubbonpet in search of a small eatery that's big in history though. Chikkanna Tiffin Room has ruled the dosa roost for 50 years.
This quaint dosa eatery comes as a surprise. You walk through the tiny lanes of Cubbonpet and you arrive here. It's small but by no means less popular. In fact, Chikkanna Tiffin Room received one of the most recommendations for the dosas that I should try, and therefore I'm here at Chikkanna Tiffin Room. Enide dosanalli?
Khaali dosa ide, masala ide.
ಒಂದು ಖಾಲಿ ದೋಸೆ ಕೊಡಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಬಾತ್ ಮಸಾಲ ದೋಸೆ ಕೊಡಿ.
Thank you. It's nice to just stand here and watch your dosa being made right there. So this is the Khaali dosa here. I have asked for the extra ghee. So you got the Khaali dosa, you've got the chutney, you got the aloo palya, and because I asked for the extra ghee, you can see a generous lashing of ghee that's been poured on top. This is a dosa that's absolutely dry. There's no oil that's used in this Khaali dosa here. Khaali means empty, but this Khaali dosa is laden. Is laden with potatoes, laden with chutney and all that ghee. I've mixed the chutney, the aloo gadde palya and the ghee. That is one tasty bite. You can definitely taste all that ghee. And then you have the chutney. The chutney is not spicy at all. It's quite mellow. And then you have the creamy potato palya or the creamy aloo gadde palya. This is a delicious mouthful. One would never imagine that you would find an exceptional dosa like this in the tiny bylanes of Bengaluru. You know, once you mix the dosa with the chutney, the aloo gadde palya and the ghee, it literally melts in your mouth. You know, the softness of the dosa combined with the creamy potatoes, the chutney and the ghee, dosa just melts in your mouth.
Having tasted the Khaali dosa, it was now time to taste the bath dosa that was apparently invented due to some patrons requesting for rice to be served along with the dosa.
So there you have it, my Bhaat Masala Dose. So it's basically a plain dosa, and on the dosa you have the masala, you have then the Bhaat, which is basically a pulao that's liberally applied on top, and then you have the chutney. If ever there was a loaded dosa, this would be it. So the Bhaat Masala is what happens when you have a masala dosa that meets a pulao. Let's taste it with the chutney. Personally, I find it a bit too much with the dosa and the rice and the potatoes. But if you're looking for something hearty, something very sumptuous, the Bhaat Masala would certainly be the dosa to try here. I'm going to taste the pulao just by itself. That's a tasty aromatic pulao. Chikkanna Tiffin Room is a small establishment, but it's bustling, as you can see all around me. I got some of the potato now. The potato, which was hidden under all that bath or the pulao, is now beginning to make an appearance. And suddenly, the taste of this dosa is transformed. Tasty, but for someone with a huge hearty appetite.
Quite in contrast to traditional dosa establishments, Shree Balaji 99 Variety Dosa pioneered the 99 dosa trend with unconventional stuffings and toppings that would perhaps make the dosa purist cringe.
Well, we're at a 99 variety dosa stall, and that's the latest dosa craze to have hit Bengaluru. These are not your typical Benne Masala Dose or your Rava Dose, etc. But these are doses or dosas with a twist. So I'm reading of Shree Balaji 99 Variety Dosa special menu here in Koromangala. And I can see a butter plain, cheese plain, all of that. So these are definitely not the dosas that your dad and mom grew up eating. These are dosas that people are eating now. Let's check out a couple of new age dosas here at Shree Balaji 99 Variety Dosa Special. Don't miss the special in the dosa. ಏನಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಏನು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಇದೆ
ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಪಿಜ್ಜಾ ದೋಸಾ ಜಿನ್ನಿ ದೋಸಾ ದಿಲ್ ಖುಷ್
ಏನೇನಿದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಪುನಃ ಜಿನ್ನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ
ಜಿನ್ನಿ ಜಿನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚೀಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ,
ಚೀಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ,
ಪನ್ನೀರು,
ಪನೀರು,
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಯಾಬೇಜು, ಆನಿಯನು,
ಕ್ಯಾಬೇಜ್, ಆನಿಯನ್,
ಚಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಸು, ಶೆಜವಾನ್ ಸಾಸು.
chili sauce ಮತ್ತೆ Szechuan chutney.
ಹಾಂ,
All right, so there's some Szechuan chutney that goes into the Ginny Dosa. I'm intrigued to say the least, but I don't know if I should be ordering it. Okay, ಒಂದು ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಪಾವ್ ಭಾಜಿ ದೋಸೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಬೇರೆ ಚೀಸ್ ದೋಸೆ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ, ಜಿನ್ನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದು?
ಜಿನಿ ಇದೆ, ದಿಲ್ ಖುಷ್ ಇದೆ.
ದಿಲ್ ಖುಷ್.
ಹಾಂ, ದಿಲ್ ಖುಷ್.
ದಿಲ್ ಖುಷ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು?
ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಪನ್ನೀರು, ಆಲ್ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಎಲ್ಲ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
So I think we will try the Dil Khush Dosa. So the Dil Khush Dosa has all the vegetables that he has here, which goes on to a dosa. We're going to taste the Pav Bhaji Dosa and the Dil Khush Dosa. So that's my Pav Bhaji Dosa that's being made. So it's got Pav Bhaji masala, it's got mutter, it's got aloo bhai there, potatoes, and of course there's a generous blob of butter that's gone into it. So this is the Pav Bhaji Dosa, served with the coconut chutney and the mint chutney. So there's an interesting story that I've heard. Apparently, the couple that started the first 99 variety dosa stall went to Mumbai, learned how to make this Pav Bhaji Dosa, and then came to Bangalore and then started this whole trend of the 99 variety dosa stall. So this Pav Bhaji Dosa is apparently where story of the 99 variety dosa began, and since then it's been, I'm told, a runaway hit, and you've got these stalls all over Bengaluru now. You know, I'm tasting it. Of course there's a dosa that's encasing all the filling that's within, so you know it's a dosa, but bite into it, you could well be biting into a pav bhaji. It's spicy, it's chatpata, and it certainly is tasty. Would this appeal to the purist? Perhaps not. But if you're looking for a sense of adventure with your dosa, then this could be a good one to try. Dil Khush, so this is the other dosa that we've asked for. This is a Dil Khush dosa. So there's some cabbage, there's some spring onions,
Shezwan chutney.
Szechuan chutney, and a generous blob of butter. So this Dil Khush dosa is a loaded dosa. It's got Szechuan chutney, which I'm told they make at home, which I'm sure is not in China, but somewhere here, and that's a Szechuan chutney, and there's some chili sauce that's gone into it. I've also got my Dil Khush dosa here. Don't miss the presentation. The dosa has been sliced to 4 pieces, and you've got a liberal garnish of cheese, beetroot, and some spring onions on top. You taste all that salty processed cheese, and then you get the hit of the Szechuan chutney that's gone into it. This is a whole new take on the concept of dosa. A tasty one, but not if you're a purist looking for a traditional dosa.
Thank you for watching our pick of Bengaluru's favorite dosas. Tell me which your favorites were from part 1 and part 2 of this dosa trail in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. If you'd like to support Food Lovers TV, do log on to foodlovers.in and hit the Support Food Lovers banner. Links in the description below. Happy eating!